going on with Holden? What the fuck is GM doing to them? Do you know anything
Like all
about this?
car manufacturing in Australia, it's disappearing or has disappeared.
Dude, the only good cars we had in America now were because of you guys, and now you're gone.
Yep.
And I'm sad.
Yep.
Dude, I want that Ute, dude. I want the Ute. Why don't we have that here? I want a goddamn two-seater with a fucking pickup bed. I'm sorry. This is America. We should have that. We had the El Camino. Why did you guys get it? We don't. We invented that shit. It's a Ute. Yeah, dude. I want the Ute. UTE.
Dude, we were making Utes before the El Camino. Get fucked.
Oh.
Get fucked.
What
we were making Utes in the 50s and 60s. Get fucked.
So what? Like how service sector?
We had the Ranchero, the Ford Ranchero in the 50s.
So Ryan,
how was 58?
How service sector oriented would you say the economy of Australia is right now?
Very,
mostly, right? It's
very
just like the United States. Yeah, it's just like the United States.
There's fuck all manufacturing in Australia.
I would say that model is even less sustainable in Australia than it is here in the U.S. It's even less sustainable there than
it has to be. They have less people. It has to be.
So
yeah, there's no question.
Yeah, it's a shitty model. Manufacturing mostly has gone to China because we have we're China's number one trading partner.
And the United States is probably number 2, right?
Yeah, so there's no car manufacturing anymore. There's nothing. There's really nothing.
Welcome to the club, buddy. Welcome to the fucking club.
And if there is manufacturing, it's very small, and small car parts, and stuff like that. So there's not much happening.
Yeah, it's very specialized and high end. That's the only thing you guys do. Yeah, same. Yeah, same, fucking same.
Yeah. And it's all and everything. But see, this is the weird thing, right? Is that we will ship all our wool to China, get made into clothes, bring it back. What the fuck? Why aren't we
middleman?
Yeah, but
but
it was so much cheaper. It was so much cheaper to have it made there than.
Yeah, I know, but
it's about middlemen making money, dude. That's simplify it.
I understand all that, but the government should put some sort of regulations on that type of stuff. Well,
that's my hope. Capitalism can be
a straight up stop to it.
Man. People that know me are going to hate me for saying this, but capitalism can be fucking controlled if we just want to. We don't have to have it this way. There shouldn't be people making money off of money. The only people that should be making money in that situation are the people selling the wool and the people making the funds. But in this instance, there's 5 more fucking individuals involved marking up that fucking price.
Mm-hmm.
That's my main.
But it's not just
stupid.
It's also commodities as well. It's like natural gas shipped off to Japan, gets refined, and comes back to Australia.
Mm-hmm.
It's not only
it was cheaper to do it in Japan than do it in Australia.
Yeah, there's an environmental consideration as well. You know what I mean? Having to ship all that, liquid natural gas to Japan just to have it shipped back. It's
stupid and dangerous.
Yeah, no, it doesn't make any sense. No, it in the long run, that's why I'm a little bit of an anarchist, because I'm we should be able to do all this stuff in our own prefectures, we should all have farms and gas refineries and stuff within where we live. It shouldn't be in Texas there's all the oil refineries are on the Gulf, so they can ship all the gas and stuff off to other countries.
The only thing I see that you should be selling, if you actually have the ability to make it yourself, like you have the ability to mine natural gas because your countries has that ability, your landmass. The only thing that should be exported is a finished product that's an excess of what you need.
Yeah.
So I'm curious in a socialistic or communist society, what are your thoughts on debt and interest? Would they be abolished?
Yes. I want to hear what Gnome has to say on what, because Gnome was going to say something. I'll hear.
On what?
Weren't you going to say something? You were coming in and out. Can't remember.
What was I going to say? Well, I agree with your point about. Well, the fact is we should be off of fossil fuels entirely. The question isn't how we store, refine, and trade them. The question is like how do we move off them? That was basically the point.
In a capitalistic society, because of supply and demand, we want to exhaust or hoard supplies because that dictates the market prices. So we're not going to switch off of things very easily, and we're not going to let go of certain types of materials and goods very readily either.
Not when it's the people who have the money that control that, the government. You know what I mean? Like they influence the government with money.
Yeah. So I just want to know your thoughts on my earlier question, whether there'd be abolishment of interest in debt within a socialistic or communistic state.
There needs to be debt, but not to the extent of a $551 billion trillion that America's in. That's, to me, is just ludicrous.
Well, that amount could be okay if the interest rate was like 0.3%. You know.
Yeah, but then people aren't going to lend you the money at that rate. So.
Well, that's why we don't need the people. That's what the government does it.
Yeah. Oh, I totally understand. But I mean, there needs to be some sort of debt because then the society sort of gets out of control. Yeah.
Well, I'm not saying give money to whoever wants it. That's not what I'm saying. You know, you still have to have a good idea to get the money. That's You still can't.
I don't think banks should be making, $500 billion in profit off the back of loaning people money. I mean, that's just.
Oh no! Banks shouldn't even exist. In my opinion, banks, they shouldn't even be there. The government could do that at nearly no interest rate, like close to zero. You could do it. The government could subside on like a mild interest rate. You know, I would even be okay with that, like
but legislate
slight interest rate.
Legislate that the money that they make from the interest go back into infrastructure and hospitals and education, not just into the pockets of rich people.
Right. Any money made, right? No, it wouldn't go to anybody. Absolutely not. No.
Well, you see,
it would go back into the system.
Then we run into no matter whether you're consolidating power in the government or in private capital, you're ending up with the same results. Okay, you get an elite class that begins to develop crazy ideas and not have, too much concern with human life and all the other shit we see. Yeah. So the solution isn't, the libertarians and anarchists have it right in this sense that we need to distribute power and break up power, regardless of whether it's coming from the government or private interest or whatever. We need to localize. We need to have local democracies, local communities that act as cells and contribute to the whole. And I mean, that's the idea behind a lot of countries. I mean, this isn't some revolutionary idea, but it all gets fucked up all the time because the people don't hold their fucking leaders accountable. They're scared of the power that their leaders have. Like, they've got guns or they got this shit. Like, so.
You're talking about anarcho-syndicalism, which, yeah, I would. Dude, that's perfect. Yeah, that'd be awesome. But, like, people are stupid. So people are.
It's not about understanding a specific system or adopting a specific system. It's about understanding the way power works.
Well, that's why you need government, because, you know, if it was like us four and all the people we knew, we'd probably be okay. But there's a lot of dumb people out there that just they're just going through the motions of life.
We're dealing with conditions that we've never seen in human history. We have no model for this. This great technology, the population, all of it. We've never dealt with this shit before.
No.
So we better start creating new models, like really new ones, and quit trying to build off of some of this old shit. We need to start. People need to develop an understanding of power. Okay, in the end, power comes out of either the barrel of a gun or it comes out of cooperation.
Mm-hmm. Or a fistful of dollars. That's it. Money.
Well, that's coercion, I should say. Whether we're talking about force or any other type of coercion, or it can come through cooperation. Now, we're at a point in history where, like, if we don't cooperate, we're fucking dead. Like, there's no recovering from the next fuck up. The Roman Empire, oh, that fucked up. Several Chinese empires, oh, they fucked up. Mankind as a species could recover from those failures. It can't recover from this next one.
Well, that's why I'm so, like, the thing that's crazy to me is that, like, all the, like, right-wing Republicans, you know, all against immigration. Like, that's the only thing that's made this country great, is that everybody wants to be here. That will make our country even better. It doesn't matter who you are. You have the chance to be great. You know, why are we stopping people from coming here? That's insane. We haven't. Why did we start doing that? We didn't do it for how many years? Like, all of our ancestors that came here, except Ebon, except for you. The, you know, Mitchell, Snork, Garden, I'm sure, living in Michigan, me in Chicago, German ancestry. Like, we just came over. We got on a boat, and they just let us in. You know, what's the difference now?
I think we kind of had this conversation last night. It can be complicated. I think the mainstream media, the big narrative.
Why? Because they don't look like the rest of most of all of us. Is that why?
I think it's because they're worried about terrorists coming in because of the wars that we start and the things that our deep state does to South America, Mexico, drug pushing and whatnot. They just
maybe we should stop doing all that then.
Yeah, I know that'd be a good start.
An easy way to stop that.
But until we do, they just want to check on the legal immigration process. But there's also probably hidden motives towards that within the certain people on the right or Republicans. I mean, Percy's Gold last night was talking about how it's kind of the reverse in Canada, is they don't get poor immigrants who don't have any money and they'll work like poor jobs. What they've got is very rich immigrants that are just buying up everything over like the people who live in that local area. So, I mean, they're working for all these immigrants that are coming in, rather than all the immigrants working for people within the parts of the United States. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of people in a lot of towns who have small businesses or big businesses are okay with the illegal immigration process because it's cheap labor. But they just it's just one of I think it's just one of those narratives that are pushed by mainstream media to push fear. I mean, it's always about fear and division.
Well, the whole immigration process is in large part just there to manipulate different sectors of the economy. Like, it's a spigot. Like, you want something to happen to the economy, turn the spigot up and let more people in. You want something else to happen, then you turn the spigot down and the economy is affected in this and that way. And the same thing goes with the black market. It's also a kind of a spigot for the black market. So when you want more black market activity, you do this and that. Maybe you loosen up immigration laws, maybe you even tighten them to raise the price of these materials that you're and people that you're transporting. But that's what a lot of these laws are about. It's not really about like them about these moral issues or about the sanctity of U.S. culture or any of this other fucking nonsense. Again, it just comes down, a lot of it, just to money.
Yeah. Always about money and power structure. But I feel like the biggest, in my opinion, I feel like the enemy, not like in a physical sense, is like a real enemy, but the fight is kind of a stance. For example, I want transparency. I want unity. I want instead of fear, is just that there is nothing to fear. That just just the opposite of what mass control is about. Just anything that they're doing, don't do it type of thing. So if mainstream media is pushing a fear policy agenda type of thing on reporting and stuff, all the bad stuff happening, don't report that if you're an independent media. Things like that. If you're an independent media and you're just always talking on one side, creating just a friction against left, right, or whatever you want to call it, and won't ever talk to anyone, and you have that elitist presence. I mean, we're all the same. Some are smarter, some are more wise, some are better with like math, some are better with arts. We're all different, but that doesn't make one person better or worse than another person. Money doesn't do that. Your belief system doesn't do that. It's that cult of personality. That's the thing I always hate on. I sound like that.
I mean, if people can just take in the scope of some of the scope of what's actually going on around them, like, what are we comparing two motes of fucking dust here? I'm better than this fucking mote of dust. I mean, time and fucking space seem to go on forever, and we don't even understand what's going on around us most of the time. So when I see people play these games, and that's the real death of humanity right there, is those games are caused by our genes. They're caused by us living in the goddamn caves and fighting it out with one another. And as animals, even before we were humans, and now that code's been written into us. So are we rational enough to like stop doing it?
Well, that's the thing, and that's where we get into cultism in some ways. Is programming. We're not robots. At least we think we're not. But with the way that in a natural way, natural sciences, the natural evolution of things is we're programmed in some way by the history of our ancestors. But that does. I mean, it's that age old. Is it
nature versus nurture?
Nature versus nurture. Yeah. So can we go against our programming, our genetic programming from what we're built into?
Our survival depends on it.
Yeah. I mean, it's like almost having to change what we're supposed to be doing based on our genealogy and actually doing something else based on what we learn outside of that. It would be like how a lot of those stories of you have like the prince or princess that's been raised in a castle all their lives, and they don't know how to do anything like cook and find stuff to make meals, and they don't know how to take care of themselves because everything's taken care for them. And then eventually something happens to them, and they get to hang out with like real people who have to work for a living, and then they realize that things should change. The people who work hard should get some of the rewards, and people who are in these castles ruling over them that get everything from them shouldn't just, they become better, I guess, leaders, governors, whatever you want to call them. Those types of things. Same thing with the poor becoming rich. A lot of people who have been in poverty and they get into richness or wealth, they don't become like the people who are just born into wealth that haven't experienced poverty type of thing. So it's a lot of that seems to make humanity better in a lot of ways, because you get to experience a broad depth of diversity.
Well, and I've always thought Social Security was always such a great name, because that's exactly what it is. It keeps people from kicking in your fucking door and taking all of your shit in mobs. It allows you to live in a stable society. Okay? Like, these things are for the protection of society, including its richest members. All right? Like, these social programs create stable societies. They keep people from kicking in your fucking door because their kid's sick, or because like they're starving, or any number of reasons.
Yeah. What's it going? Dominic has a new. Oh, Snork and Dominic, you guys have came in, but you guys haven't said much. Anything you guys want to talk about?
I came in because when you were talking about how we're like innately antagonistic or competitive or violent toward each other, but I don't think it's innate. I think it's conditioned, because when Gordon said our survival depends on it, I would argue that the survival depends on us going to a more harmonious rather than a competitive relationship, with other human beings and creatures. We have to like. I think innately, at the beginning, we had to be bred to live like that, because it wouldn't have we wouldn't have been able to evolve. We would have destroyed ourselves.
Yeah, that's what I meant, is that we have to break that paradigm. Our survival depends on breaking that paradigm.
Open source. Right, Stark knows all about open source.
There's good parts and bad parts to open source. I see a lot of good people doing innovations in open source. On the other hand, I like the dependability that happens with software that you can be sued for. In open source, nobody has responsibility for failure. So, the Arduino system, open source electronics. There are advances, and usually the advances are people that take a step away from open source, still use the base, but at charge just for the part of their addition.
Sure. Well, I think that's the. I just want to say one thing. That I think that's the benefit of open source. Like, it can get you in the door. It gives you an opportunity.
Yeah, especially for someone learning. But
exactly.
Extremely mission important software. The proprietary means that, sure, I'm charging money for it because I've had to pay people money to make sure that it works right.
I agree with everything you say, Snort.
Now, I have worked with a lot of people. I have worked with a lot of people from communist societies and from resource-based societies. I worked with a lot of scientists from the former Soviet Union after we actually brought a lot of them over after the collapse of the Soviet Union. And
wow, they were actually like viable scientists that actually knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. How is that possible? How is that possible, Snork? They're communists.
Yeah. When we
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
We denied them a lot of our plastic knowledge. And they did wonderful things with glass. So the leading glass scientists came out of the Soviet Union. Because they had to make do with the material they knew how to work with. And they had a lot of tricks on how to cut glass and whatever. We didn't have techniques for here.
Wow.
Because we didn't need it. We had plastic.
Right.
When we needed glass, we needed their techniques. However, like I said, I'm talking to all these guys. Almost every one of them said that the failure of communism was too many people weren't motivated to do anything. And when I talk to people on islands, how do we pay people on an island to do work when the island has a society that there is no ownership at all? Everything is temporary. So nobody feels that they need to, or any incentive to invest anything, because anything that they invest is going to get taken away from them. And
Columbus came up with the solution to that one.
Well, see, my thing was like, if I was provided like a basic income, like there's so much stuff that I would want to do. Like, how do you instill the feeling that I have into, other venues I want to explore, into other people? How do you excite that part of them? That's the question.
Yeah. A lot of people, it's not possible. You can't model the whole population on one group of desires and whatever. So you'll have some people that you'll never be able to excite. And you have those that are easy to excite or excite themselves. I do think we need an incentive system for the people who do the extra step, who go ahead and reward those who do. I just don't think they need to be 4 billion times the income level of the baseline income.
Well, but you still have to admit that you have to provide. People should be provided with basic necessities of life, no matter who they are.
Well, that's what he's saying.
Basic
necessities. No, I get that. I get that.
What happens?
Trust me.
What happens is that you can't all have the most perfect, and the people themselves must be willing to provide something back to the society. And that's why the Soviet Union collapsed, because they had so many people who were not providing back to the society. I know there was all kinds of extra pressures, but when I talk to people, and I have to view them and their comments as having some importance because they experienced it and I did not.
Well, then we run into the issue of, without a percentage of the majority of people contributing to that society in one way or another, the society is going to fail. All right. What we have to get away from is the carrot or at least the stick. The carrots are fine. But like when you threaten people's families by saying, you don't have enough money, so you're going to die. Or you don't have enough money, you can't get your kids educated properly, you're going to die out on the streets. That kind of stuff has to go. That's not the right pressure that we need to apply to people to get them to become active participants of the society.
No, I don't feel that children should go hungry. I feel that everyone should have an education and health care.
Yes.
What I don't feel that everybody should have is, money to the point where they have no incentive to do anything. And, again, other qualifications.
No.
I believe that if we ask somebody
luxury should be provided to no one. Like, luxury should be earned.
But some people don't care about luxury. I mean, motivation is a great subject because
Well, dude, if you want to go live out in the woods by yourself and hunt shit and catch stuff, go for it. I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
Fine.
so let's talk about, like, for example, my motivations, right? Say all my needs are met, but basically my motivations right now is to make money and end the systemic corruption and, I don't know, what do you call it? Greed, killing, do what you want, lawlessness, injustice, no freedom stuff. I would fight for freedom. Let me finish, Bob. And so that's a motivation, but wealth and luxury is really not my motivation. If it's something that I want to do, that if all my needs were met, and basically I would be watching movies, I would be reading books, I would be fishing, I would be hunting, I would be playing video games. That's pretty much it. But then what am I contributing to society, and any advancement of humanity or things that are better? So there's that motivation isn't there unless it's just inherent. It's just a thing that I want to do. But the thing is, the motivation is different. Some people's motivations would be luxury. Some people's motivations would be sciences anyway, because I really like technology. I like fiddling with things. I like trying out new stuff, and I'm pretty sure you're the same way, Snork. And I don't know about Garden or Dominic, but so everyone's motivation is different. What are your motivations, Dominic? What are yours, Snork and Garden? And I think Bob dropped off, probably not on purpose.
Well, I feel that people do need to provide something. I agree that nobody should go hungry, but we have jobs and stuff that people could be doing. And I think we should provide the means for them to get to the job. And there shouldn't be a couple of million people in New York City that will never have work. They should be given the option to have decent pay, but they will have to go down to Mississippi or Georgia, wherever, pick peaches and whatever. Start doing some work and give them a course line. And if you go through this, you will have a progression of income increases. Everybody should have that option, that if they're doing what they're doing well, I don't care if it's picking peaches, if they do it well, become a peach picker supervisor, there should be a decent income incentive as they go up. And not everybody is fit to be a supervisor. So they shouldn't be in pain. They shouldn't feel like they're being worked. But we do have jobs that need to be done in the society that we shouldn't be importing illegal aliens for and making them work for 50 cents an hour.
And I agree with most of that. The only thing I'm arguing is that we need to quit using scarcity as a driver.
Yes.
We have enough. Like, if we were to manage our system properly, there's enough. So it's not a question of we don't have enough materials to eliminate scarcity. A lot of our science, a lot of our academics, all of it, in fact, I should say all of our medicine, these are gifts handed to us by the blood and sweat of our ancestors. And all of humanity has a right to some of that. I believe in and we're also not including social incentive structures in our conversation. There's a lot of social pressure for people to do this or that will still be there, even if people, get some kind of a basic income or are subsidized in some kind of a way or something.
All right. So Ryan, if you wanted to say something, I saw you pop in. I mean, you're probably in that same situation. I mean, you got UBI and you're doing, I think, something good for humanity, spending some time doing this, and also the stuff that you're setting up on the side with the people, the projects you were talking about with mental health issues and stuff like that. Dominic, you're retired. You don't have to do anything, but you're here and you're investigating and twittering away about the injustice of the Zionist state. And
That's pretty much how I spend my day. But as far as how I think things should be, to me, resources and utilities should be public controlled. Okay, no one company should be able to like destroy a planet and take all the wealth and like just push all the debris down to the people who mine that for them. Okay, so I think that's more along socialism, but the resources belong to the people. Utilities, you need them. They should be government controlled or severely government regulated. Like back in when I was young, telephone service was very cheap, because it was regulated. Companies were paying the bigger bills for the telephone, so the average working person, their bills were cheaper. Okay, because the companies were footing more of the bill because they used most of the phone lines. So, but then when they deregulate everything, that's when things started going south. Trucking was a very, you had a good occupation in trucking. The routes were regulated, the rates were regulated, so you didn't have a whole flood of people destroying an area trying to get good freight and other guys selling their spare tires to get a load back home because they don't have enough for fuel. Okay, and it destroyed like a well-paying, well-functioning industry. If they wanted to deregulate, if they would deregulate routes but keep the rates, that would lead to competition. Okay, but when they deregulated rates, and it didn't come down to the drivers. It went to the companies that were shipping in the forms of bonuses that they were saving on their shipping expenses. I heard guys talking about it in one place the one day, and it really pissed me off. Here I am loading these heavy boxes on the floor, sweating my ass off. They're in an air-conditioned office talking about how much money they're making now that they're saving on the shipping costs that are destroying the industry that I'm but yeah. That should be regulated. Healthcare, I think healthcare should be publicly funded, but our private healthcare system, if you can afford to go to it, it's pretty good. Okay, it should be publicly funded. It should be a single payer. You go to whatever doctor you want. The bill is paid. And there's money to do that. That would be cheaper than what we're doing now. That's one thing they could do right now. I could see where it might be a little tricky trying to wrestle the oil companies and the coal mines away from those guys. But healthcare, you're looking at most of the people want it, and those people have really nothing that could stop us from getting it. People don't worry about coal or something, but everybody needs healthcare. Okay, and that to me that would be one of the biggest issues: healthcare and education for these politicians. That's what they should be focusing on.
Yeah,
and the money's there.
Money's there. One thing I wanted to say also is in this situation where all our needs are basically met, where we need some people to give back to humanity and others, not unmotivated to do any work, is what about people who are very skilled at something, but they don't really want to do that, but would rather do something else? Do we force them, like someone who's very skilled at, say, programming, to build something for like a space program type of thing, or they go, I don't want to do that, I'd rather do make a video game type of thing? Of
course not, dude. We don't force these people to do those sorts of things. If some dude, like some engineer, wants to go flip pizzas, let him go flip pizzas. It's our loss. There's other engineers.
But say it's this. Say, I mean, there are certain people who just. It's just like, a skill of one good engineer, it can be way much better than just 10 poor engineers. Because
you kind of that whole thing, you pay with what you get, or you get what you pay for type of thing.
Well, preserving human freedom is, unless we're talking about a life or death situation where the planet's going to blow up, preserving human freedom is more important.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Any one project that guy could do, or any number of them.
But I don't know. It's just like freedom gets to the point where, hey, if it's preserving freedom, I just want to not do anything. I mean, how do we force people who don't want to do anything to do something when they're just going to get something for free?
Well, the majority of people will want to do something if you put them in a decent environment where they have opportunities to do things. There will be a minority of people who don't want to do a fucking thing, and they're just not going to reap a lot of the benefits of the society. But on the other hand, they're not going to be homeless. They're not going to be starving. And their kids aren't going to be locked into the same mindset necessarily, because they'll have a decent education. So these lower end people, that don't want to do anything, just people who don't give a fuck about society, because they're not necessarily lower end. There's a lot of geniuses who are just like, fuck society, I'm not doing anything. And but those types of people, they'll live in smaller homes, not under inhumane conditions. Maybe they'll live in small apartment complexes and things like that. They won't get some of the luxuries in life, and there always will be a percentage of people who don't want to participate in society for whatever reason. Like, how do we treat those people?
Yeah. I don't know. It's tough.
I worked with a guy at Preston when I used to work the docks there, and he used to work the docks. He had an engineering degree from Lehigh University, which is a pretty highly respected engineering school, or not engineering, accounting, and engineering too, I guess. But he had the engineering degree, and the pressure of the job, he couldn't take it. So he was happy loading trucks at night. Okay. And then he probably could have got a job with any engineering firm around, but he didn't want the pressure. He'd rather work on the dock at night. And then when Preston closed up, he went and he was a janitor at a high school. He never really went into the field. He didn't like the pressure, and he was perfectly happy. I mean, happy-go-lucky guy.
Yeah. Yeah, environment is another thing. I mean, where I was working at is what's the point of me doing my job if the person above me is telling me how I should be doing my job, and that person doesn't understand how to do my job? So, and then because I'm not being able to do my job, I'm underperforming because I'm doing it the way that the person above me wants me to do it. And when I do it, things aren't working well because she doesn't know what she's doing that I should be doing. And when I say if I did it my way, it would work, but I never get to do it my way. And so every time I'm just getting the worst bonus of all time. And it's like, so what's the point? What's my motivation? Is I'm screwed if I do, I'm screwed if I don't. Just a whole lot of pressure that, I don't even know what I'm supposed to do. I mean, work 40 hours a day. 40 hours a week. I can't work more. We're not allowed to. But that's not going to better the situation. I'd need like 5 or 6 of me to do it manually. And anyways, it's just one of those things. It's like, yeah, why deal with the pressure? I mean, I could be doing something else. Especially now, I can make probably 40 grand a year and be okay living where I'm at. And that doesn't help out anyone who wants to plan on retirement and savings and stuff. But heck, they didn't need me for that with the way that I was handled. So, I mean, it's almost like the motivation, no matter what, is always going to be kind of bad based on wherever you're at, whatever environment, whatever company, whatever society, whatever government. I mean, it's always going to be liking or not liking in some ways. I mean, it's just like those. It's one of those things where you just can't solve in one universal way. And I think like a balance is the best thing. Like when Snorker's talking about privatized types of programming or open source, I think the balance is best. There's competition between privatized and open, and love and borrow off of each other. I think yeah, it's always seems to be having options. I mean, competition. And that used to be the case a couple of decades ago, at least. You know, remember how Microsoft was having all these antitrust laws, anti-monopoly type of litigations against them? But now everything's monopolized. And what happened? How'd that happen?
Yeah, and when the monopoly went the opposite way from Microsoft, nobody complained about it. A lot of people moved to the somewhat free stuff that Google provided. I mean, people in droves switched to Google Documents, even though they were stored on a a server that was probably shared with the government that they thought that they were avoiding.
Yeah,
accused Microsoft of it. Then Bezos turns out to be basically CIA conduit.
Yeah, I think that the Microsoft lawsuit was them putting the leash on Microsoft.
No, I think it was I think it was the equivalent of piracy. I actually think that here's conspiracy thing. I think it was the Clintons.
Uh-oh.
I think they were digging him for money and trying to force him to do something. And Bill Gates actually did complain about a request from the government to break security against his customers.
Exactly.
I don't know whether
that's the leash I was referring to.
I don't know if you're just a masochist. What's the sexist term? You're either sexist or anti-Semite. Yeah, you're a misogynist or anti-Semite there, Snork.
I'm a misogynist anti-Semite. That's correct.
Yep.
Just because you're against the Clintons. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I'm with her. I think she did it.
Always pick a winner, right?
Oh my goodness! I gotta get you Madame President hat, Snork. We gotta piss some right wingers off.
I mean,
and left wingers. What am I saying?
Microsoft isn't the only case of the government using lawsuits, and especially antitrust lawsuits, to coerce a certain behavior or whatever out of a corporation. And it's gone on forever. And I just think that that's one of the latest ones. And that's one of the, now that they're entrenched and they've got the leash firmly on, that's why we don't continue to see massive antitrust actions against Microsoft. They've proven that they can be a good soldier, and there's no more need for it.
But it's almost not even. I mean, it's getting a little bit blurrier. I don't know how you would say it, because like at Google, they're not really Google. They're just a part of Alphabet, and same thing with a lot of phone, like internet service providers. They're and phone companies, like the cell phones carriers, whatever in the U.S. They're either bought out or form. They buy each other out. They kind of, there's usually like 2 or 3, 4, it just keeps getting less and less. And what's the Monsanto? They're not even Monsanto anymore. They got bought out, remember, by I don't know. Bear. Yeah, and it's
that was when we were talking about Nestle, and the other night, like I was looking at the relationship they have with ConAgra, and they're just playing a damn shell game. They like. It seems to me that we're competitors, la da 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 da, and here they are trading properties back and forth. Like there's exchanges and buyouts going on all the time between these two, and yet they're presented in the market as like stark competitors.
Now what's Bob's got to fix his issue, whatever it is.
So there's just a lot of just blatant collusion. I mean, you look at it for 5 minutes and you see like them trading.
Bob's going to sleep. He's too inebriated. Good night, Bob. Sorry.
Get fucked, Bob.
Get fucked. Yeah.
I got a question for you. What do you call one of these? Like, I know it says. Hang on, let me bring it up. But what's the technical name for one of these? Where you can program the keys.
I always call them shortcut keys, hotkeys.
Macro.
Macro keys.
I'm just trying to see if I can get a cheaper version because that's nearly $200.
Why would you need? You can reprogram anything to any type of key. You can macro to like say Control Shift I or Control Alt O or whatever, and
ain't nobody got time for that.
I mean, you're gonna need to do it anyway when you get that. You're gonna, assign.
Yeah, but this is backlit, so these actually have little LCD monitors behind the keys, so you can.
That one's got the TYT logo on it.
Yeah,
that's why he wants it.
Okay.
I want it because it's cool. Leave me alone. Fucking picking on me.
I'm a cheapskate, I guess.
Yeah, the one I've got on my foot, I can't see. Just
tapping away.
Yeah, I can tell it what key I want it to be, and then that's it. I just have the one pebble.
I mean, you can buy a keyboard, like and assign things to them as well, but also use it as an instrument with the right program. I mean,
I want one of them. Leave me alone.
I think
Don't judge me.
I think it looks like a cool device. Where are you going to mount it on your desk?
Probably next to my keyboard.
Yeah, I do think it looks like it's a innovative, cool device.
Yeah, it looks all right.
I got to make myself one.
It'd be awesome if I could make myself one. But they're all like little. There's 15 keys, and they're all got little LCD.
OLEDs.
Yeah.
OLEDs.
OLEDs. Yeah. So Snork, you could probably make them with your
3D printer.
3D printer. You can make whatever squares or keys, whatever, and just etch it so like you let the light through, whatever it is. I mean, you won't be able to change the physical structure of what the light lets through, the LED or the illumination on the main board, where you put those whatever keys over it for your macro.
I can buy OLEDs.
Well, you can do that too.
Buy small OLEDs and then have a mechanical keyboard, but you can buy them really cheap. They're like $1 each.
You could buy the 10 key separately and just replace them.
My thought is that they probably buy theirs in bulk, and they probably could do it cheaper than it would be for me to buy all the parts separately. But
yeah, probably. Unless you go to AliExpress, you can go to AliExpress and buy it all.
or bang good.
Yeah.
I remember like I get audio equipment and just get parts. I get like 100 of them. 'Cause they'd be like, if I buy 100 of them, rather than buying just 2 of them, 2 little parts, it would be like, after shipping, it'd be like $12. I buy 100 of them for like $50. And so it's basically like $2. But what I do is I have people buy them from me, like in these like community forums, and for like $2.50, and eventually it just pays itself off. It's just extra trips to the post office, and everyone's just like, "Yay, that's awesome! It's cheap, way cheaper than they would have to buy it." Same with me, is it's just I just have to deal with the extra hassle of of reselling them to other people, and showing them instructions on how to do it. And it's simple. A lot of it's just kind of remove it, replace it, plug it in, you're good to go. Reinstall drivers.
But if you're having to do a lot of keystrokes for each one of these, a button to do a whole macro to do it all at once might not be such a bad idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would love to have. I would love to have a macro that just automatically opens up Zoom, and then because Zoom doesn't save your preset of what you had last time. Well, it doesn't for me, and I've been trying to fix that, and just open it up, and there it is.
Well, you can create a batch script, and you can assign a shortcut
Yeah, you
to
can do that.
a.
Yeah, you can do that.
You can assign a shortcut to that batch script, and you just press that one key, and then boop. Or you do it during login. So if you do it so you right when you like a task scheduler, once you log in, it automatically sets up everything for you. I mean, there's plenty of things you can do.
Yeah, it'd be good just to have things automatically just press one button and just shit happens for you. Because you know what it's like starting up a live stream. You've got to start it up, then you've got to highlight the information, put it in your YouTube channel, and then you've got to come back and then open up your on another computer, and then you got to send yourself the link. And
yeah, there's a lot of steps to it.
Yeah. So we do a lot. Just to get a live stream up and running. And
people to join the talk, and information out there that's just not always just the same in the description box. And yeah.
But also talk about different topics as well, not always the same. Donald Trump's fucked. The government's fucked. You know what I mean? It's sort of like, okay, so we'll talk about Roseanne Barr for a bit, and we'll talk about the Scaramucci and what's his name on Fox News, and just change it up a bit.
So Dominic, so I hear you really like Israel. So can you elaborate? What's the latest on that?
Defend Israel, Dom. I don't think I've heard you say anything like. I think you've been on since that latest atrocity.
No, I sit there and look at it. I don't even know why I look at it, because it just pisses me off. Like that our people are so stupid that they don't realize what we're supporting happening there to human beings who were so wronged, and it continues for 70 years. These people have had nothing but misery and death, and actually more than that, because they started immigrating in there even before that, and they're still, taking their land and cutting down their olive trees and their grapevines, and they're building colonies on their land, and we're giving them $3.2 billion a year, yet we're sending missiles to Syria because they think he might have gassed somebody. They killed about 62 people just in that Gaza thing, in the Great Return March. That's one of the most disgusting things I've seen in my life. I've seen some disgusting things. We've been involved in some disgusting things, but for this to continue like that without any attention, because the Zionists control the media. If you look on Google, you'll see the Zionists control the media. the Zionists control the United States government. You know, there's they just passed a law. I've been looking on Twitter. I didn't look at it yet, but I saw it on Twitter. And I know they've been trying to get it through, that the Congress passed a law that it's illegal to criticize Israel. You could get a fine, and the original bill was you could be imprisoned. You know, say you want to boycott something, say you stand out in front of a store and say these products are from the Israeli occupied territories. Please don't purchase them. You could go to prison for a couple of years for that.
I remember a couple of years ago. Remember the hurricane that went through Texas, Houston, and all the damage stuff. So if you wanted government compensation for that disaster relief fund, you have to sign this contract, and one of its stipulations is not to boycott Israel. It's like, what? Why is that there?
I'll tell you that boycott and divestment's hurting them, though. You see, Shakira, she was going to do a show in Israel. She canceled it. You know, this hurts them. Like Lord canceled it. That actress, Natalie Portman, she wouldn't go, and she was born, I think, there in Israel.
Yeah. She was.
I really liked her, and then things changed. But after this again, I like her again.
Yeah, I think I get this feeling when you talk about Israel that if you don't agree with them, then you are by default racist. Yeah, that's the feeling that I get.
Well, that's what they want.
But I mean, that doesn't make sense. I mean, I agree with what Donald Trump's doing and all that. Does that make me a racist against America?
Yeah.
It does it? Okay, fair enough. Well, fuck you then. Lucky you're North Korean then, because I agree with King Jong-un 100%. So you and me, mate. We're lucky.
I'll tell you, there's a good video by a former Zionist. And I think I might have sent it to a couple of people before, but his name is Benjamin Friedman. If you Google him search him on YouTube, you'll find him. It's about a 2-hour speech he gave in 1961. This guy worked in the inner workings with the Zionists, and he knows what they are. And you know, it's incredible that what they get away with, and they're marching us toward a war. He mentioned this back in that speech in 61, that they were going to bring us into World War III. They've been kicked out of every country that they've been in, and the people that are in Palestine aren't really Semitic people. They're European Jews, you know. So the Semites are the Palestinians. So the Palestinians are more Semite than the European Jews that are occupying their properties.
You see, that's the way I've always looked at it. Is I've always saw that as a European occupation. Like, I don't think of Israelis as Jews per se. I think of them as Europeans. That's a European nation.
Yeah.
It's got people from all over the world. Russia, there's a lot of Russians and stuff, but essentially what we're talking about here is, a European proxy state.
Well, it's a European nation with a Zionist philosophy, like Germany had a Nazi philosophy. This is another country, that has that philosophy. And their philosophy is worse than what the Nazis was, actually, because the people in Palestine never did anything to hurt the Jews. Where the Jews before World War II, World War I, World War II, the Jews kind of fucked Germany pretty bad. There's a little bit of history behind why Hitler wasn't too happy with them, and not just Hitler, the German people.
The conspiracy theories have it so that it was all planned so that whenever Israel or the Jewish state that gets formed because of Hitler, that whatever this Jewish state does because of what was done to them, that no one can really argue against them. It's the ideological trap.
Right, and that's even in question. you say that and people think you're a Holocaust denier, but I read a book written by a Zionist who I really don't agree with too much. That he's kind of a tricky guy. I forget his name, but like he has the facts. He went to Auschwitz. He went to all these places. He's not denying there was a Holocaust. You know that people were in concentration camps, but he's saying that they weren't just gassed, you know, en masse to kill them. That they were dying of typhoid from lice and other diseases. So the majority of them died from that. The gassing was to de-lice them when they come in off the trains. You know, so there's a whole different narrative about that too, if you look into it. And part of that narrative is what you're saying, is to gain sympathy for them to commit the atrocities that they accused Hitler of committing on them.
Yeah. And one of the other conspiracy theories that I have seen is that those that are in charge of the concentration camps were actually the Zionist Jews, making sure that the non-Zionist Jews join them. Otherwise, they're just goyim. You know,
right. Well, look at George Soros. That's the big thing with Roseanne Barr. She didn't get fired for a racist comment about that lady. Who even knows that lady? She got fired because she said that Soros was working with the Nazis in World War II, which he admits he is. There's
he's written it. He said
I think she was fired for a lot of reasons, that being one of them. Like, you can't say that Planet of the Apes shit. You can't go after Chelsea Clinton. You can't fucking do this or that. Roseanne's always saying this nutty shit, and it was only a matter of time. And I think she was fired for a combination of those reasons.
Oh,
earlier I was bitching. Okay, I was like bitching about TYT again. I was like, I fucking watched one of their clips. I was pissed. But the clip that I watched was about Roseanne, and what they said was that Roseanne said all this about Soros, and it's just not true. It's not even remotely true. Yes, it is. George Soros collaborated with the Nazis by his own admission for his survival. But he collaborated with them. There's no denying that. You saw the 60 Minutes interview, right?
Yeah, I mean, I know it's true. I mean, that it's even admitted by George Soros, and there's even stuff that's admitted by the Rothschilds. There's even, all over the place. There's a lot of admitted stuff, but then whenever you say something that they said it, that they even wrote it down, it's like liar. They never did it, and you show here's the proof. Yeah. But you can't show them the proof. They don't let anyone on.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's a well-documented fact. Now, am I claiming some kind of moral superiority over Soros when I say that? No. Maybe if I was in that situation, I'd be a Nazi collaborator too. But, to deny that it even happened and to act like it's not relevant to this conversation is absurd. It's dishonest.
By the looks of it, my grandfather was a Nazi collaborator in the same regard as trying to save his life. So,
yeah, you can never judge those kinds of people too harshly.
Yeah, it's I mean, when I was in the Navy, I was like, what if we were in the same situation as soldiers, that there's a Hitler, or unjust war, or genocide? Should we still follow orders or not? And their justifications: you join the military, you follow orders. It's like, what? Then we're no better than the Nazis.
I'll tell you, we're not. Like Gordon says about Soros. I don't fault him either for what he did. I did it. You get brainwashed into something, and you'll kill somebody who never did anything to you because somebody said he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
Okay, so that happens. The thing with Soros is he's promoting it now. With other people, he should have learned from that experience. But I don't trust any of those. I'll tell you what, the Navy. What does the Navy think about the USS Liberty?
It's never mentioned.
Huh?
I don't know. Did they ever bring it up to you, Ebon?
can I
When
say?
can't
Israel
imagine.
attacked the USS Liberty,
What was that? Sorry.
do you know about the USS Liberty?
Not really.
Oh my God, you're in the Navy.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but that's amazing because they should be teaching that to everybody in boot camp. Israel tried to sink that ship, you know, to create a false flag that it was Egypt, so that we would go and help them conquer more Arab land over there.
Like, they don't teach you anything in the Navy. They don't even allow you to shoot a real gun anymore in the Navy through boot camp. And right now, what they're doing is, rather than going through actual drills, like practice drills in case that there's a fire on a ship, you play a video game. And that's how you learn how to do things. They're making it so that it's not hands-on anymore when you're in the military. It's all digital. It's all like reenactment stuff, but in their narrative. It's propaganda training or whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
You're not supposed to learn anything that happened in actual history. The ones who do are the ones who go through the Naval Academy training. The ones who become officers. Those are the ones that will they'll teach you the correct history and what happened and how things occurred and what should have been done instead of what was done, etc.
Well, it's too late, man. It's too late. Like, it's so much harder to get Israel to fall in line in the way that we're talking about, at least. I mean, they're a nuclear state. Yeah. I don't think that they could launch an ICBM unless, like, we let them. But that doesn't mean to say they can't take chunks of uranium and, like, do things with them outside of Israel.
And you know, a lot of the false flag stuff happened way back with Teddy Roosevelt. You know, to incite to get war going so he could get a little bit more famous and elected into office. And he was one of those guys who's just really, he wanted war. He wanted to be famous for his war heroics and stuff like that. And
yeah, these people are dangerous.
Yeah.
You know? Look at Bolton. You know, he's another Teddy Roosevelt. But you turn that guy loose, he's ready to fight with everybody.
Yeah.
He never went to war, but he's ready to fight with everybody.
I don't think too many people in the intelligence and military infrastructure take Bolton seriously. I think he's a joke. And I think that, like, he doesn't get his way in those meetings.
Yeah, we bombed Syria.
Just because we're hawkish doesn't mean that, you know, we're listening. The reason is because of John Bolton. We're hawkish anyway, with or without him. He just makes a good poster boy, like another fucking clown that the public can point at and rage against. Because he is a joke. The public's his vast numbers of people are well aware of what John Bolton's all about. And they've seen him on the talk shows and they've seen him on media for 2 decades now. And he's just another fucking piñata, just like Trump. He's not making policy.
Oh no, I go with you there, but he's probably, he might not be making it, but I'll bet he's planning a lot of it. Same with Pompeo. You know, they put all those people in place. You know, they're getting all their people in place. They want to invade Iran. You watch and see if that don't happen soon.
I think it was Bill Cooper in one of his shows, which has yet to air. Is basically the CIA is just a playpen for the influential, the elite rich or the power people. It's their playground. Go and do whatever they want, and because they're not good enough to do anything like be a businessman or like lead a corporation, form a corporation, or be in politics. Well, because politics now they'll let anyone in. It's just a show. But yeah, that a lot of them just go into CIA because they're really not smart enough to do anything else, and they can go anywhere in the world and do whatever they want. They have immunity and all this other stuff. So it's I mean, imagine that's the biggest joke is it's just a big another club, another society that we don't get to know anything about because all the propaganda about the CIA is just so inflated that you have to pass these series of tests, intelligence tests. You have to be smart enough to figure out how to solve this or decrypt this.
You're talking about James Bond.
Yeah, and in reality, they're just a bunch of idiots, really. Yeah. But what do we know? We're just average Joes out here.
Well, they're just soldiers. They're just soldiers too. They do what they're told. The Rothschild and the Kochs and the Saudi prince, they're the ones pulling the strings. I agree with Gordon there. These guys are just figureheads, but they're the tools they're using to get the job done.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. It's just weird. I mean, I don't know what to think if I get called anti-Semite because, my former landowner, I really like her a lot. She's the only one that I really trusted to look after my daughter, babysitting and stuff. Even my son, it's like she's Jewish. So
that's the thing, like because and that's why when I talk about the policies of Israel, I usually say Zionists, okay? Because a lot of Jews in Israel, just like a lot of people like us in America, don't support the policies of that government. Okay, they've had demonstrations all over Israel, about what they're doing to the Palestinians. So they get lumped in, just like all Americans get lumped in with like the imperialists. So, I always, refer to it as Zionism, where the Jewish people, and that's what I tell somebody. I'm not anti-Semitic at all, but I'm anti-Zionist. It's a political philosophy. Would you like if do you think Nazism was good? Well, if Nazism wasn't good, Zionism isn't good because it's based on the same principle. A master race. They want everything. They want to eliminate, any other. They want to get rid of the Palestinians. They don't even want a state for them. They don't want to integrate them. They want them out of there.
Well, are you familiar with the works of Gideon Levy?
Who?
Gideon Levy?
No.
You might want to look him up. I mean, he's probably the sharpest internal critic of Israel that they have. And he's been around for decades, and he's been going through it. There's decades and decades worth of his work that you can check out. He's appeared on all the, major, all like a lot of the networks and all this, so you might have come across him.
Yeah, I might have seen him. I'll tell you, Norman Finkelstein is really good. You ever watch him?
No, he's an American though, right?
No, he's a Jew. His parents were in the were Holocaust survivors.
But is he an American or is he an Israeli?
In the I think it was him, or was it Pompeo? One of their fathers were a general in the Zionist army.
So he's lived most of his life. He's not an expat or anything like that. He's lived in America for 50 years.
I'm sorry. He's what?
He's not an expat or someone who's lived in America for.
He's from Israel. They despise him over there. He's a professor. They hate him as much as they hate anyone that exposes what they're doing. He's like Jane Fonda to them was during the Vietnam War.
Yeah, it's just I can't believe. I mean, what is it going to take? Like, what is it going to take? They were just openly shooting into crowds again.
Well,
this is the first time this has happened.
Because what it's going to take is to just cut them off from everything, sanction them. Like we might not do it, but the other countries were already doing it. Some of their diplomats have been. I think Turkey expelled the Israeli ambassador. The world isn't going for it, anymore because it's so clear what they're doing. And they can't bullshit people, and they can't bullshit the people that these people are supposed to be leading. So whether they like them, whether they're with them or not, it's putting pressure on them to do something about them. And now with Shakira, Lord, all these artists and intellectuals even are boycotting Israel. They won't go there. I think that's where the pressure is going to come from, because then not the international warmonger community, but the international community, the artists, the intellectuals, they're the ones that are going to put the pressure on.
Yeah.
I think that public opinion is not going to really have a huge effect on this issue. It never has. I think the real way to tackle Israel is not to go at it by going after Israel. What you do is you solve the dispute between the U.S. and Russia about where that fucking pipeline is going to go, and about how energy distribution is going to proceed going forward, because that's where Israel gets its power from. It gets its power because it's right there it's our little fucking bastion in the Middle East.
Israel gets its power because they control the banks. The bankers are buying. Believe me, that's the key. That's the key to world. People wouldn't be going along with them if they didn't control the money. The countries that don't go with their banks are the ones that they're after.
If we could get a hold of our energy infrastructure, I think the problem of Israel would eventually resolve itself.
Control over energy infrastructure. It might be easier.
The money to,
get it back into human control, not under control of of a system that is built up of sticks and carrots, a non-human system where no one's really making the decisions. They're just reacting to situations. My opponent did this, therefore I do that. I want to achieve this, therefore I must do that, or I'll be eliminated. These systems aren't fully under human control anymore. And we need to get them back under human control. We need to get them back, to the point where we can have rational diplomatic sit-downs about how energy distribution is going to go forth.
We need to get them out of the reptilian hands, is what you're trying to say.
Yep. I'm tired of these things coming along, eating children. Sick of it.
They live in the mantle, right, Snork? the thing is, we gotta stop them from flushing all their oil out to the crust.
You mean their sewage?
Yeah. Their waste is our fuel. Snork, you gotta get that guy on here. The guy who was telling you about.
He's dead. He was mysteriously disappeared.
Oh, that sucks.
I didn't keep notes from that era. Obama made us destroy all of our notes.
Ah, that sucks.
He turned over our confidentiality agreements and everything to BP, and said BP's running the project. And BP said, we're only looking for solutions that do not collect the oil, which basically means leave no evidence counting how much was there, because the fine would have been $50,000 per barrel of oil collected.
Whoa.
This is another example of Obama giving a hand job to BP. Him and BP in the early part of that administration.
Yeah, he did it to me twice. I don't trust him at all. Fukushima, I volunteered to help because I do water purification, as I felt was the most necessary thing to prevent the plastic with Fukushima, or protect the planet. He basically turned it over to a nuclear group, and they said, we're only interested in hiring engineers for the restart of the Fukushima reactors.
Let's restart them.
Well,
we're looking ahead.
At that time, they disagreed that they were. They thought that it was just a minor problem. They could restart them. They wanted to play it down. They did not want to say it was a national or a worldwide disaster.
TEPCO should be done.
No, Japan should be done. We had a treaty if that happened, we were supposed to take sovereignty of Japan.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What change?
Yeah. What? Can you cite that treaty?
Yeah, it's the nuclear treaty from a whole bunch of nations. I forgot what it's called.
Do you remember the year?
No, I mean there's only one. It's one big treaty with
It's the
big one.
Pacific.
Yeah. And part of it is that the country must maintain control of all the fissionable material, or sovereignty is surrendered.
The Treaty of Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons.
Yeah, keep looking. Read through it. You'll see
signed 1st of July 1968, effective 5th of March 1970.
Yeah, we have an absolute responsibility to guarantee containment of the fissionable materials. That includes sovereignty.
I think I saw that on Rachel Maddow tonight.
She's a Rhodes Scholar.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, well, that's, that just isn't feasible. I can't imagine how a scenario like that would play out. But the government of Japan should have shut that company down and started to.
We have an occupying force there already.
You're advocating for the takeover of Japan.
Yes, in that case, yeah, because they did not act responsible.
It'd be great, but I don't think that'll happen.
Yeah, it's too late now.
Well, think about the secondary repercussions of that. I mean, China, Russia, they would flip the fuck out if we did something like that.
You see, all these other countries have had issues too. Nobody's been going on. Nothing's been as bad as Fukushima. But India has several reactors that are not made by them, that are in an extremely vulnerable place to tsunamis and earthquakes. And it's larger than Fukushima, and it's at the worst place on the planet you could put them, right at the tip of India.
Well, of course, instead of going through Security Council resolution after Security Council resolution, the United Nations should establish a real nuclear regulatory commission that has a governing body that says, okay, this area, if you sign on to this, when we come have an issue, this whole area becomes internationalized.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we should no longer have let Japan make the decisions on what was happening there.
Yep. It's just, and just when you just look at the site, it's still a disaster just waiting to happen. I mean, on the surface, without even getting down into these reactors or anything. They just have bags and bags and, vats and vats of this contaminated water, and it's right up against the shoreline. What are you doing?
That's just a little bit. They scraped off the soil from hundreds and miles radius, and they're in bags. Just everywhere you go is bags and bags and bags of soil. But since they didn't stop the source of the radiation, it's still emitting, and it's just recontaminating the area. What they did was theater. Didn't clean up the nuclear mess at all.
They made it look like they were doing something, but they weren't doing it.
Yeah, in this ice wall.
Anyways, side note, because I was sorry. Dominic, while you're here, do you still have any guns? Do you keep any of your guns from your Navy your Army or Navy?
Oh, I don't have anything from the service. I just have a couple weapons that I bought. I have a pistol and a couple rifles.
Do you have any that are 30-08 or 30?
No.
Okay, they're mostly what?
I got a 22. I got a 12 gauge. I got a 38 pistol. Got a 410. I think that's about it.
Okay. Thinking of getting a battle rifle, but I don't know whether I should go old school with something with the 30-06 or go with like was it 30-06 or a 7.62? At 7.62, I think. Yeah, you're right.
7.62. That was M16. That's what we used to M14.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are killing rounds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know what to pick. It's gonna be a while anyway.
If you're gonna hunt, man, or you want to multi-use, 30-06 is perfectly fine. It's good for home defense. Like you can hunt with it. It's not gonna, you could put birdshot in it, and
Yeah, just the rounds are expensive and not very common is why. I'm thinking against it. Hey, Truth, how's it going?
On the other hand, like you can put a slug in it, and you can go deer hunting.
Yeah, I know. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm thinking yet.
I want to get one too. I was looking at the AR-15s. That would be nice for me. I know it. That my son just got one. It's really nice.
Well, get it while you can.
Yeah, I know. The problem is I just had my stone wall replaced. Cost me like over $11,000.
Yeah.
That took my. I was going to use some money to get the assault rifle, but gotta wait now.
They're fun to shoot, but like AR-15 doesn't have much of a practical use. Like there's better home defense weapons. Like you could hunt.
Oh no, I agree. But if the and hopefully it wouldn't come to a point where I'd have to go up in the woods with it and look for people. But that's worked well for us. I'm familiar with that weapon. Why would I change? That's something I'm
sure.
Yeah, if you're trained in it.
Brian, your beard.
He lost it. He was walking down the street. It just fell off.
He saw Hillary Clinton while she was visiting New Zealand and across, he can see New Zealand from his backyard, just like Palin can see Russia. So.
You don't look like Ryan. You don't look like my Ryan. You look like a different person. An entirely different person. Oh, no.
That's what happens when you watch too much TYT. Your hair starts falling out. You start puking.
Yeah. It was a mess, mate.
Oh, boy.
Always take iodine before you watch a TYT episode.
I guess Kratzenberg got his razor and decided to go take your beard away.
Yeah, it needed to go. It wasn't very nice at the end. So, plus, I've got a bit of a medical problem at the moment, so it had to come off.
That sucks.
Yeah, it always feels good, though, afterwards.
I've got a big lump there. It's about that long.
Yeah, I've had some lumps like that. I don't know what happens to them, but who cares? I either die or I don't.
It's fucking aliens.
Yeah.
They put tracking devices in you that biodegrade after a couple of days.
That's the thing with our medical thing is like if I get cancer, heck, I'm not doing anything. I'm not gonna spend hundreds of thousands of dollars just chance of being alive. My wife would probably say otherwise, but I'm not gonna ever go through that.
It depends on the cancer.
Yeah.
Some of them are very good chance of survival, and others it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
So it really depends.
Yeah. But even the ones that have a good chance, I mean, it's still very costly because you have to keep going, get treatment, and then if your body can't handle it, then you got your hospitalization bills, however long you need to stay. It just adds up over time, and then
doesn't cost me anything if it's a cancer.
Well, shut up! You're not an American.
I tell you, know what I found funny tonight? I was watching World News, and at the end they have American of the Day or Person of the Day or whatever. Person of the Day was this young boy who raised $6,000 from a lemonade stand to pay his little baby brother's newborn baby brother's medical bills because he has this rare disease that takes all this treatment. Okay, and that was the big, they were making like that was great. Okay, to me, that was like when George Bush told that woman that, oh, it's great, you got 2 jobs. Here Here it is. It's great.
Yeah.
It's 3 jobs.
Go out and have a lemonade stand, and they were making that like a good thing. You know, that they had a. To me, that they should have been saying, "What the fuck? This kid got to go out and sell $6,000 worth of lemonade because this guy is making $30 billion a year." Get out of here!
Exactly. Wolf Blitzer said something the other day that was kind of like that. He was like, "You realize that if we decrease our military involvement in, I think in one of these areas in Syria, I think it was, that like that'll cost American jobs." That was his argument against the person who was arguing for non-interference in Syria. Was like, it'll cost American jobs, therefore we shouldn't stop. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
And you know, there's the bills that are proposed for that include retraining for the people. They know people are going to be displaced, but not as many as they think, because they're going to still need these companies' infrastructures, you know, to manage it. It's going to be a huge system. You know, so not everybody's going to be out of a job. You know, the salesman might be out of a job, but probably the people that are processing a lot of the paperwork and stuff, a lot of them will keep their jobs.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, and Snork's always bringing up the swords to plowshares concepts. I mean, we don't have to lose a lot of jobs because we demilitarize. There's a lot of shit we need to do.
Yeah, if we just recognize that climate change is a war we should be fighting, we wouldn't have enough people for all the jobs we would create.
Heck, it wouldn't even need to be climate change. You just clean up the mess that's already there, the pollution. I mean, Nebraska has like the 6th worst waterway. I'm sure Iowa's part of the same because of all the agriculture stuff. I mean, just cleaning up that is a big undertaking. A lot of jobs for that.
There'd be so many jobs. You know, the infrastructure here is like terrible. I mean, I can remember when it was nice, you know, when the roads were nice and they were maintained. You know, that's all gone away. You know, they let it really deteriorate.
Yeah.
And it's going to take a lot to get it back.
I was talking with my wife about that, because in Omaha there's someone who's running for mayor. Actually, my brother-in-law's friend was running as a mayor, and his main focus was fixing up the infrastructure, the roads and stuff like that. And yeah, he didn't get picked. I mean, there are some roads that are just potholes like crazy. People that are driving would go into other lane just to avoid the potholes. Like, what? That's just dangerous. Fix the potholes. You don't want, you know, it's either people are either going to go, you know, get an accident from running into another car, or they're just going to, you know, pay a lot of bills for ruining their car from running over a bad pothole.
Yeah, they don't care. Like when I had that truck accident, you know, back in '95, I showed you pictures of that where a truck rolled. Well, I wrote a letter. You know, there was no reason for that because they didn't have any plows out. They knew the snow was coming. Route 80 is like a main highway between New York and Ohio. Okay, well, the West actually.
Yeah.
You know, and they don't plow it. You know, I wrote him a letter, and I said, "Why won't you plow the road?" He goes, "Well, Pennsylvania has one of the largest areas of road to plow in the country," and he gave me all this stuff. You know, you got major highways. You should have a plow out and salt out on the major highways. You know, that's bullshit. You know, you take a chance on somebody getting killed because they don't have the money to pay to maintain the roads.
Well, you got to maintain. You got to maintain jobs. You got to give all these big corporations money so they could operate in your city.
Yeah, look at the jobs those guys would have, plowing the roads, and they have extra guys on the roads, keeping them nice. That'd be steady work, winter and summer.
You think towns would have learned from Walmart? Walmart applied that scam on a wide scale. Oh, we'll give you subsidies. Like, you know, who's ever going to give us the subsidies is going to get the Walmart.
That, so, casinos operate in the same way too.
Yeah, they do. Like, I could give you a couple of examples of that, but yeah, I mean, then Walmart builds on the town line, and you know they're not contributing to the tax base that in the way that they promised to. The stores are often closed nowadays. The stores are just straight up closing. You know, they're sucking all of this infrastructure money off of the city, and the cities aren't getting it and fucking anything for it.
What I don't get is, okay, so my humanities teacher in high school was pretty big conservative. And one of the things he really talked about is keeping the money within the local area. You know, you want to keep the money within the community, because if you get something like a Walmart that's headquarters in wherever it is, New York or whatever, and you're all the way here in Federal Way, Washington, or whatnot. And the thing is, all that money that company makes, it's not going to be redistributed by all the local people who work there and whatnot, because they're not making a lot. They make maybe a tenth of whatever the company makes for that store, and all that money gets funneled back over to the headquarters wherever to be redistributed to like building another one, maybe down in like Texas or down up in like South Dakota, wherever, you know. And so the money doesn't get it, you know, it doesn't go around in that local community. But you'll see in big conservative states, in towns, Walmart. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't, especially when they give them tax breaks for putting them in, because they're not getting any taxes from them while they're driving their their tax-based businesses out of business. You know, they're driving the competition out of business. It was the small stores that were paying the taxes, you know, for them to give Walmart the tax break. I tell you, they tried to do that in Allentown, a little west of Allentown in West Coastville. They were going to bring a Costco in, and they were going to give them real big tax breaks. Oh, we're going to bring jobs. People really protested that. They stopped it because, you know, you're going to bring jobs. You're going to put everybody out of business, you know, and you're not going to have any taxes to fund the breaks you're giving these guys.
But we are past the Walmart model. It's fading fast. Amazon is just blowing them out of the water. The stores are closing. Kmart's closing. We're going to see a new model. Is going to be a bunch of little stores like Dollar Store for the items that you need right away, cheaply. People are going to be buying the stuff online. The only real answer to it is proper taxing, where the money recirculates back to the areas. But people need to have jobs in the areas where they're buying it. You know, in the past, sure, a few people were wealthy store owners. What we need is everybody in the community needs to have a job. So we need an incentive for small towns to get factories, and we're not getting it. The small town I live in just got a huge battery factory. The problem is their customer, U.S. Automotives, and all U.S. Automotive brands are only going to be 6 remaining. So I'm not sure if the new factory in town here is financially viable anymore.
Yeah. It's
the same way here. We have a factory that is just basically existing off of, you know, the state's benevolence, or, you know,
it's like when I talk to conservatives about having Costco's and having Walmarts and all this stuff, it's like, what happened? I thought you guys were against this stuff. Why? I mean, how does this happen in whatever ideology that you guys follow?
Well, a lot of conservatives don't seem to understand the difference between traditional conservatism and libertarianism. So they'll just call themselves conservatives when what they are is a form of libertarian. They believe that, hey, the biggest fish, like, you know, that's the best way to move society forward, is to let these big movers and shakers do their thing.
Yeah.
And that's not really a conservative philosophy.
Yeah, true. One thing I do like is I saw a big, huge billboard in Fremont saying, you know, use your vote or something, because they want to fight against Costco being built in the town of Fremont, just close by in Nebraska. But I just recently on the drive back saw that billboard was replaced, so I don't think it bode very well.
There was a town around here, Charlevoix, Michigan, that successfully resisted having a Walmart
Nice.
installed in it. And they just did it by holding out and by getting enough public pressure. I think Walmart fucked up a couple of times in that process, so that helped them. So, I mean, it is possible. But like Snork said, the battle on that front is pretty much over.
Yeah.
Like, that model is come and gone. It still has an effect, and it should still be resisted. You should try to avoid shopping at Walmart and whatever. But
there's nothing else. Yeah,
yep.
I mean, it's all chains here. There's either Ace or Menards. Otherwise, you know, Walmart will have it. Big, huge furniture marts. Everything's big here. I would try to go local, like bike shops. At least, you know, they're local. It's hard. I mean, there's more local, non-chain stuff back where I used to live in Somerville, Massachusetts, than we're here in this small town. It's like, why? Small towns should have a lot more local stuff. It shouldn't have these big chains.
Well, the town councils and the economy of these small towns is weaker, so you know you can buy them off for less carrots.
Yeah.
Like, they're always eager to have some kind of chain store come in. Like, around here, they were supposed to have another one of these chain stores come in. And the town was just waited on bated breath. They're like, I hope it comes in now. I hope it comes in. It's like, you fucking idiots. What you should be doing is you should be suing the shit out of the local Walmart, getting them the fuck out of here, and then reinvesting in your main street.
Yeah.
But as you know, as was pointed out, it's hard to tell if that's viable anymore because of the online sales environment.
It's not viable because also the means for them to acquire goods at an affordable price is gone, because at the same time that Walmart, you know, got them out by taking their customers, they also prevented them from coming back in, from blocking them from using the vendors. So the small vendor no longer, when they're used to dealing with the Costco's and the Walmarts and the Costco's, they're used to selling 1 million units at a time. They're not going to want to talk to somebody that wants to sell 6.
Yeah.
And potentially, like, you know, if capitalism worked the way it was supposed to, there would be small producers who would arise to meet that need. But, you know, that's just not going to happen.
The only way you could get around it is your small store that, like you said, immediate needs or really, really high quality stuff. Where, no, not even that. Snort.
No, because the high quality stuff. Basically, what we're going to start seeing is, for the people entering the market, we're going to see people selling through Craigslist, through eBay, through portals.
Okay.
And we're going to see the other stuff go the other way. You're never going to see stuff go through the mom and pop shops again.
Yeah.
Unless you know, like Irving, that makes his own watch parts and makes one watch a year, sells it. Has people lined up to come to his shop to buy that one watch. It's just not going to happen. And we have to recognize that and say, what do we need to do to tune our communities to be able to live in this gig economy? And I don't see it. I've worked gig economy for too many years. It's the only choice I really had, because I'm at the end of the baby boom. There was just this glut of people taking jobs, and then the jobs went away. So there's just so many people for every job that we need to restart. Well, we have no real effort by the government to make jobs, except for declaring working at McDonald's to be working at a factory.
That would make perfect sense. That's not a bad idea.
No, we already did that. That's how Bush got his numbers up on factories. He declared McDonald's a factory.
Really?
So they count all people who work at McDonald's as manufacturing workers.
So why aren't we seeing, some of the other things that we see that that go along with these factories, like unions, of course. I mean, we know why we're not seeing them, but you know, if they're going to be declared a part of the manufacturing sector, then we need to start treating them as part of the manufacturing sector in the course of their operations.
Mm-hmm. They manufacture hamburgers.
I think what they should do is when these places close down like that, you know, they're making all that extra profit. That should be heavily taxed to provide like a universal basic income for that area. Okay, that they just devastated. They went in there, they took the tax breaks, they took everything they could get out of it, and then they pulled out so they can make more money. So they're going to be making more money. They're not going to be paying anybody. They should be paying those wages for those people until something else can come along. You know, universal basic income, you know, I think that would provide the basics, you know, an apartment, food, and stuff like that. We should have health care. But then if you want people to incentivize people, you know, that's when, you know, if I want a car, I got to get a job because I'm going to have to pay insurance. I'm going to have to pay the extras. Okay. If I just want to like write a book and I don't care if I have a car, I can use public transportation. I just need my room apartment. I can sit there and write a book. Okay. If I, you know, it's, if I'm going to go out and start a company, you know, I'm going to have to like work my money to get my start, or to get a loan to get a start. But, you know, there's a way to provide people and still provide an incentive, I think.
I think we'd have to make other changes before we implemented universal basic income. If we just tried to implement it with the way things are now, costs would skyrocket. There'd be all kinds of issues. Like it would just, that whatever excess income people gained, it would just be drained off of them.
Yeah, it's not going to be an easy solution. And it's going to have to be a combination of symbiotic solutions that work together. And but there does need to be some basic level of income. No child should have to go hungry.
Basic human needs. I mean, provide basic human needs because you're better off providing. Look at San Francisco. They can't walk down the streets down there because they're full of shit. Okay. They're better off providing basic housing and stuff for people. Give them money, you know, for food or you know, have a place where they can go and pick up food. But, you know, that's they have the basics, you know, and anybody could survive doing that. All right. You make it that way.
Well, that's, you know, that's why I'm for investing, like rather than just cutting people a check, investing in infrastructure and other programs. Like imagine this, okay? Like you've got a bunch of these chain grocery stores in your town. All right. As a requirement, what they have to do is they have to fund another store. Now, this is the store where people who are broke can go to get food. And the stores have to, as, you know, whatever chain stores in this area, like they have to contribute to this in terms of both cash and inventory. So you would have a place where people could go and, you know, use some kind of like food stamp card or something like that. And they could go to that specific store and they could shop there. That way the fucking food stamp dollars aren't getting recycled directly back into these companies. And this third store, which would be cooperatively owned, like it would be run by the state or managed by it, like the money, any profits that were made off of that could go back into that community to fund various projects or whatever. Because the way it is now, people just use their food stamps at a fucking Walmart or something, and guess who gets the money? Walmart. You know, so
I think if there was if you know, I would disagree that the prices are going to skyrocket because if people have money to buy necessities, okay, like and with that there, it would be, you know, you can probably stipulate that the money needs to be spent in the shops around that area that are contributing to it. So you got people paying taxes into it. You got the stores that pulled out paying money into it. You know, and it's generating more money, so that should generate more jobs. Okay, so it's not a cure-all. I agree. It's not going to happen tomorrow. But, I kind of agree with a system that would do something like that. They just give people health care right now. You just watch how many businesses start up. You give people single-payer health care, and you watch how many people would leave the jobs like we were talking before that they might not like and go do something that they like and create another type of an industry.
Well, I think that if we started cutting people checks in this environment, the sharks would find ways to drain that extra income from the population, and they would do it pretty quickly.
Oh yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you.
So we got to put other things in place before we can simply say, okay, here's some money to live on. But what we can do is,
I'll tell you one thing, single-payer healthcare would do it. Look at
yeah, I mean, we can adequately fund healthcare, we can adequately fund education, we can adequately fund other infrastructure. And that's not going to have, like, you're going to have poor projects and all this, but you're not going to see the kind of direct shark to citizen relationship that you would see if you had just UBI in this environment.
You know what? What do you think with Starbucks opening up their restroom? Did you see the new policy that they can, anybody can go in there. They don't have to buy anything, and anybody can use the restroom. And they can stay for a reasonable amount of time. Okay. Now, what do you think that's going to do to all the homeless people who? Because I wouldn't want to have a Starbucks in San Francisco right now, because guess where everybody's going to move? Right next to your store.
This will actually create jobs, I believe. Because I don't think it'll be very long before we start seeing Starbucks add an extra bathroom in the outside for people to use. And I'm not joking on that one.
I can see that.
If they're required to let anybody use the bathroom, they're going to want to keep it away from the customers. Or they'll put an extra door on the side, takes you to the back, gets you quickly away from the customers, and then the exit will be out to an alley that takes you like 3 blocks away before you can walk back again.
Crime alley. There's also going to be an uptick of crime outside of Starbucks.
Oh yeah, the businesses around there must be really pissed. If I had to say, you have another cafe like that or a bar or something close by there. Can you imagine that? You're going to have all these people hanging out there waiting to go to the bathroom at Starbucks and living on your sidewalk because it's close to the bathroom.
Yep, people are going to be fighting outside of it. That's what people do when they're desperate, man. And also there's a significant amount of the homeless population that's mentally ill because we dump them out on the streets. So good luck, Starbucks. Have fun dealing with that shit. They're going to have to hire a security guard, so that's more jobs.
Well, their coffers are going to be $10 a cup.
That's fine. You only need like a couple of well-paying customers. Right?
There you go.
You don't need to appeal to the wider public. You can just appeal to like an elite class. That's increasingly the business models that we're seeing.
Of course, when they walk in there, they're going to have to probably pay about 3 or 4 people for cleaning their windshields and opening the door for them.
Yep. It's like $50 a cup of coffee, but like the customers don't care. Like, San Francisco isn't cheap to live in, and there's a lot of super wealthy people in it. Mm. So if you only get one customer a day and that guy drops $1,500 at your Starbucks, then you're doing all right, I guess. But you see, that's the other solution to some of the problems we've been discussing. Businesses are simply appealing to higher end customers, and rather than trying to appeal to the wider public. And that's how they're overcoming the consolidation model.
Who cares? They can all go fuck themselves. Pieces of shit.
Yeah, it's a hard world we live in. Hard life. Just imagine living in Liberia, right? That's what they always try to scare Americans with when we complain about how shitty things are here. they're like, well, you could be living in Africa. And then all of a sudden we're grateful. You know, and I am grateful to live in the first world. Like, I'm glad I'm here.
Oh, yeah,
But that doesn't preclude us from recognizing some of the problems around us and trying to address them either.
Ebon was talking about jobs and stuff. About 16 tons. And I said, what do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt. I said, St. Peter, don't you call me because I can't go. Angel Tips put in, because I sold my soul to the NWO. That's the new ending for that song.
Some of my friends come up with some alternate versions of songs, but I'm not going to repeat them here.
So sometimes you have to do that just to be sane. While I was driving, we were driving to Omaha from Somerville, Massachusetts. My daughter just wanted to keep her calm. All she wanted to do was listen to
TYT?
No.
I want to be just like Daddy. That's what she kept saying.
She wanted to listen to who's the Mary Poppins. So there's the one where it goes, I want to fly a kite up where the air is clear. That one. Except I got tired of listening to all over, so I just have to remake the words just to not so we wouldn't have to listen to it. Instead, we just sing the alternate version. So it would be, I want to fly a kitten, send it up instead of rather to the atmosphere, send it to the catmosphere and all this other stuff. So that's fun stuff to do.
That's putty.
Mm-hmm.
Our songs that I've misunderstood the lyrics. I at first when a very old Depeche Mode song came out, "People Are People," I thought they said, "I can't understand why a man would date another man."
People are people, so why should... Was that a Depeche Mode song? Yeah. I
Mm-hmm.
think it was.
Oh, Depeche Mode, man. We're going old school 80s.
I like Depeche Mode.
I like
they're
Depeche
good.
Mode.
Yeah, my brother used to listen to them all the time, too.
Enjoy the silence.
He was big into... shoot. I can't sing their songs. Remember, there's a movie where they tried singing it and they couldn't sing it. The Tommy Boy, I think it was the movie. What's that? It's like, oh man, why can't I remember it?
Was it Your Own Personal Jesus?
No.
High School Musical.
No.
Marilyn Manson does a
version of that.
Yes. It's very good. Now, I'm an atheist, but I still think it's very good music.
It's I think it's this part in Tommy Boy. Give me a second. I'll share it.
Well, what's his name? I can't remember his name now, but his tone of voice was carried very well with those musicians. And it created kind of like this layer of sound.
I don't know if this is the right scene, but maybe it's this one. Hold on.
Hey, good tune, man.
I don't think so. Yeah, here we go.
This song sucks.
Talk about lame.
Totally. You can change it if you want.
I don't care. It's up to you.
I can live with it if you can.
Suit yourself.
told me you love me, baby. You said you'd be coming back this way again, baby. Baby, 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 oh baby, I love you.
Maybe that wasn't the scene. Dang it. I hate it when I play a little snippet and I don't even know what's going to happen.
Copyright strike.
It doesn't matter. I get those all the time.
Can't be playing the Carpenters willy-nilly, mate.
What is it? They're fast singers. Gosh. I'll keep looking. I'm sorry.
I still like the original more than I like the Marilyn Manson version. Like, the Marilyn Manson version's okay, but he doesn't do anything really different with it, you know? It really sounds like the original in a lot of ways, almost too much so.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night, Ryan.
Fleetwood Mac is coming here on, well, Depeche Mode is going to be in Chicago on Friday, and I can't make it. Fleetwood Mac is coming to Iowa October 8th. October.
Who's singing for Depeche Mode now?
I'm not sure.
Because what's his name is dead, I believe. Or am I thinking of the singer from In Excess?
In Excess, I believe you are correct that one of the band members is dead.
Let's check it out. Because I know in Excess, I think it was the lead singer, but I'm not sure if the lead singer of Depeche Mode is dead. Let's see here. No, he's not dead.
I know that he did some stuff on his own.
Yeah, he's not dead. I was probably thinking of someone else then.
Yeah, In Excess. I like that band as well when they were.
Yeah, a bunch of great songs. Like I Need You Tonight, that's an awesome song. I was in a bar one time and I kept playing it over and over.
Yeah, I think it's really too bad. They did that show where they tried to get another singer. It just didn't kick off.
A lot of bands try that.
B-52s? No, I don't think it's B-52s. Wait, I think it is the B-52s.
Did they try to replace what's his name? Like Axl Rose isn't dead, but the band hated him, so they kept trying to replace him a couple of times. It never really worked out. They tried to replace Diamond Dave Van Halen, and that did work out in a lot of ways.
Why can't I remember? Man, 80s had a lot of good stuff. It's I don't know.
The one that irritates me is like, and it's not a singer, it's a bassist. It's Kim Deal and the Pixies don't get along, so they keep having to replace Kim Deal. And so when I hear, you could always tell the difference. Like, music is different.
Man, oh, my brother used to be a big 10,000 Maniacs fan. Iggy Pop wasn't that bad. I like some of his stuff.
Natalie Merchant has a beautiful voice.
Yeah,
she's dead. She's dead.
She died? What? When?
She just died like a month or two ago.
Oh.
Geez, that's horrible.
Yeah. Like, I didn't really. I mean, when 10,000 Maniacs kind of broke apart and she did her own thing, like, I haven't really. Did she just disappear from the music scene? Because it's like when, like, the 2000 hit, she just kind of disappeared.
She had like she had quite a few albums, dude. Quite a few of them. She had that one hit, Carnival or whatever, that was on the radio. She had a couple other ones, and she was putting out albums everywhere.
Yeah.
She does a great Tom Waits cover of I Hope That I Don't Fall in Love with You. That's a good song, and she does a great cover of it. San Andreas, that's another good song by her.
Yeah. Yeah.
That whole album is pretty good. I can't really think. Well, maybe there's a couple songs in that one that I don't like, but I like most of them. Some of them are really sad.
Yeah.
But I've always been into music since I was a kid, so I'm familiar with these 80s bands. I don't listen to a whole lot of 80s music anymore, but
Yeah, me neither.
can still appreciate it. Duran Duran, I'm a big Duran Duran fan.
At least they were pretty original compared to now, but that's not saying very much.
Doesn't look like much good's coming to Omaha. Beach Boys.
When are the Beach Boys going to come there? Is that what you said?
Friday, the Beach Boys are going to be in Omaha.
Wow. Like, how long, like, are they still all alive?
No. I don't know how many original members are left. Not many.
I was going to say, it's a government program, life extension program in the 50s. Oh, we'll give it to the Beach Boys. I mean, they got to be like, they got to be pushing like 85 plus, whoever's alive. Like, how old were they back then? Like in their late teens or early 20s?
God, you know what I really loved back in the days in the 90s is the MTV when they actually used to play music, the unplugged stuff where they did stuff live. That stuff was great. Like there was just 10,000 Maniacs there. I never knew that they had that for 10,000 Maniacs. I watched so much MTV. It's one of those things where you just left on all the time.
Yeah.
Take me now, baby, here as I am. Pull me close and try and understand.
My brother was in love with her. He'd listen to her to 10,000 Maniacs like all day. Oh man, the nostalgia of the 80s.
Yeah, Natalie Merchant was pretty attractive, and it wasn't like she was a pretty woman, but like that's not where most of her attractiveness came from. That voice, just the way she carried herself, couldn't help but like her a little bit.
Yeah. I was more of a Sarah McLachlan. I had a thing for her.
Evan and his Sarah McLachlan posters. What are you doing in there, boy? Nothing. There was something fucked up that happened that had to do with Sarah McLachlan fairly recently. I can't remember what it was. She said something or did something that pissed some people off. I can't remember what it was.
She's Canadian. Canadians always seem to piss people off.
Yep, scum of the earth. That's what I call them.
Here's one I might want to go to in Omaha. Omaha's not that far from here, really. It's a 6-hour drive, something like that. Gary Newman.
I'm not familiar with Gary Newman.
From the 80s, Cars.
Oh, yeah, he was the lead singer.
Actually, it would have been 79.
He had a unique voice. I was never like really, or it has a unique voice. I was never really a big Cars fan, but it'd be cool to see him.
Fleetwood Mac is going to Lincoln.
I definitely go see Fleetwood Mac.
Oh my goodness, that's some big Illuminati symbolism there, Snork, with Cars. Hold on. Here, I'm gonna show the screen real quick. Here we go. Is this who you're talking about, Snork? Oh, I recognize it. I don't even know what he looks like now. He's so young.
Yeah. Elton John is coming to Omaha February 12th, 2019. He's up there in age too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got to be in the 80s now?
That's my thought. That's my thought.
Wow. Wow, everyone's gotten so old. I'm old. What am I talking about?
Shut up, old man.
I'm hitting 40 this year. I can't believe that. Man.
That's what Mr. T would tell you. Shut up, old man.
No, he's
ever see Rocky 3?
Oh. But he used to say fool all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just that line in that movie, like he busts out of the crowd, right, and starts screaming at Rocky, "Give me my shot! Give me my shot!" And then the fucking what's his ass comes in and he's like, "You're not getting a shot." And Mr. T's like, "Shut up, old man."
Yeah.
So I'm always using that line from that movie. Clubber Lang.
Yeah.
I like what Sylvester Stallone ended up doing with the Rocky movies. Like that one that came out a few years ago, that was a pretty good movie. It was more like the first one than any of the other ones.
I mean, they're all memorable in every Rocky movie, except for maybe Rocky 5. I mean, they're all pretty memorable. Rocky 1, 2, 3, 4, and Rocky Balboa. Even with the one with Tommy Gunn, Rocky 5.
I was going to ask if that was the one where he fought the kid.
Yeah.
And they brought Karate Kid back, Cobra Kai.
Yeah, I heard good things about that.
So there's all kinds of 80s shit. And then Roseanne, technically, I think it started in the 80s, right?
Yep.
So we got that. And then they tried to bring back X-Files. That's 90s. But they just canceled that.
That sucks. I really liked the last couple episodes of X-Files too.
I haven't watched any of the newer ones.
Oh, well, the first episode of the last season, you may get a little bit bored, but it starts getting better, especially when they get into the conspiracy theory stuff. And then they go into like a mirror. It's kind of like dark, Black Mirror-esque type of episode with AI. I mean, it gets pretty good. What me and my brother, we always talk about, and we say that their kind of side episodes are much better than their main episode types, where they keep going along the alien route and the all that stuff. It's better when they take that side route where it's very very silly. I always like those. Rowdy woman on the Bond show tonight. What, Dominic? Yeah, what's with this? There's only been guys on tonight. There hasn't been. Where's Amanda? Has she been? I haven't heard her on our DM for Twitter either. I hope she's okay.
I was talking about the chat. I put my age up there. I'm 69. M99 said, "Was that your age or an invitation?"
And that's why we don't have any women on the stream tonight.
I wonder how offensive we are if I don't know. Not Neo. What do you call them? The centrists, neoliberals. There you go. If they watch us, listen to us talk, I wonder how offended they might be. It's not like we say anything offensive. We just talk. It's like
denigrating Hillary is offensive.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I like. It's like we don't censor ourselves, which is nice. We don't really care about being politically correct. I mean, it's not like we go out our way to be offensive in the first place, though. We just don't hold back, really.
Natural talent. For some, it's just a natural talent.
To be offensive?
I'm just kidding.
Yep.
Garden.
I've
yeah.
got a mouth like a sailor. Fuck this, fuck that. It's fucking my Italian background. That's
the reason why you have a mouth like a sailor is because you're never mind, seaman.
I'm sailing on the TYT ship.
Dominic, were you in the Navy? What service were you in?
Marine Corps.
Marine Corps. Okay.
You ever see the video I did on a battle we had?
Which one? The one that you had on Vimeo, I think? Or
no, it's on YouTube.
On YouTube? No. Did you do one recently?
Huh?
I don't have you on with the ringer, so I need to do that. I didn't know you were doing videos.
I haven't done any for a while. I was messing around with them for a while, then
5-6 months ago. Yeah, I'll watch them.
Yeah.
Subscribe and bell.
Huh?
That's the way I do it. I get sick of uploading them and whatever. I don't feel like carrying a camera around talking while I'm hiking. So
yeah,
I'll make a few, and then months will go by, and then maybe I'll make a couple more.
I mean, I took a few. Oh, I mean, it is time. It takes a lot of time. Like excuse me, sorry, beer. I took a lot of photos today of the because you guys have seen my the birds that I've been doing live streams. So I took some pictures. I haven't really done any post processing, but I'll let you guys see what I've taken so far. I mean, it took a lot of time and patience because I was on a ladder just to get that height and view. And the thing is, the birds themselves, they're the mom and pop, they're really wary of me. You can see that if I zoom in. Can I zoom in? Oh, no, I can't zoom. Wait.
Yeah, don't scare them off, man. They'll like abandon the nest.
Yeah, and there's one where they caught a worm. That was just male and female, the mom and pop too. But I had to wait a while just to get some great shots of detail. And you know, one good thing about digital photography is you can take a lot of shots and pick the ones that you want later, and you can crop it out and, you know, really just see some focus on the detail that you want. It's just a lot of this is just, I really wanted to find shots of them with feeding the baby chicks, but a lot of them gets blurred because it's starting to get dark. But yeah, it just kept looking at me. It's like, when am I going to go away so that they can go and feed the chicks? So that was a decent one. A lot of it again gets blurred because they're always moving. So when I actually look online for photos, even with just robins, and they're so common, and or with chicks, is like there's not many pictures out there, and if you do use them, I mean, you had to pay like $60. But when to use it non-copyright, but what I'm thinking is, it takes some patience to go ahead and take some of those pictures out in the wild. First, you got to find them. Then you got to get the right setup. I mean, for me, it's easy because it's right on my house, but it's not. It's a lot cooler when you see them out in the wild on a actual tree nest, and you get that timing right. You're out there for probably at least half an hour to an hour just trying to find the right shot and the opportunity for seeing them feed their little babies. And just get a sharp shot. Look at that, the blur. If I had my speed light, it wouldn't be so blurry, but then it'd be a little bit different type of look. Anyways,
wildlife photography is hard, man. Like, you make too much noise as you're moving around the forest. You can't really help it a lot of the times. So the animal's already primed in most cases to run, but if you even see them. Like, I missed out on, like, the other day when I was driving, or yesterday when I was driving around, there was a porcupine like the size of my tire. It was gigantic. and I was scrambling to get my camera, and it just went into the woods. I couldn't get a good photo of it. Like, I saw some fawns, and I tried to get pictures of them, but they took off. So it's hard to do it. Basically, if you're going to go out in the wild and take photographs of animals, stay in one spot and just be extremely quiet.
Yeah. There's some crazy looking clouds out, which I didn't really have the right lens filter for it. So that's also the thing about photography is if you don't find that right shot when you're out there, you really have to do some extra work post-process to make it look good with contrast and sharpness and focus and texture, all that other stuff. I'm not much of a photographer. I'm still an amateur, but I just like doing it because I like showing off to like my daughter where she's like, yay, that's cool, that's awesome. I couldn't get a good shot of the bird eating the chick's feces, the urea. I like that shot where it's cocking its head.
It's looking at you. It's trying to decide whether it can challenge you in that moment. You see the way it's puffed out and its head went up. It's like,
oh yeah. Well, whenever I put the webcam on, they're both the mom and dad are like pitching like really loudly just to distract me and get me away. But anyways, I'm gonna try to find. Oh, Amanda's here. I didn't see her get on. Hi, Amanda.
They're gonna knock you off the
Miss
ladder.
you. I haven't seen you for a while. You been okay?
Just tired.
Yeah.
I was actually napping, and then I woke up, and then I tried finding my camera, and then I heard you say, "Where's Amanda?" So I thought maybe you heard me cuss at my camera. It's like, where the fuck are you? It was under my chair.
Well, speaking of that, guys, I got to go to bed. Sorry to take off as soon as you get in, but
that's okay.
Pushing 3:30.
Yeah, it is late on the East Coast. It's late now. But
hi, Dom.
We've been having pretty good conversations, so I don't want to cut it short.
What all have you talked about?
Conspiracy theories, New World Order.
How about Q?
Q?
Yeah.
No, we haven't talked about Q. For Star Trek? Or QAnon?
Yeah.
Oh, we haven't talked about QAnon yet.
Why would we talk about QAnon?
I've been I've been watching that whole scenario on Twitter, and it's like, oh dear God.
Is he real?
Kevin Johnson did a really good article on him. Did you read that one?
Yes, and I totally agree with it.
I guess I missed it. What's going on?
There's this he, she, they. I'm not quite sure, but their name is Q, and he or she or whatever. Let's just say he, so I don't have to keep saying that. Has taken what is out there already, this information, and he's put it into codes and made it sound so encryptic, and people just like ate it up, like as if Q knows all, right? And this dude, oh my God, he's turned to Catholicism because of all the information that he's gotten about the deep state, and he said it just turned him back into his religion. He's made it like really, really super spiritual, and these people are just lapping it up like as if he is the savior, you know? I mean, it's the fucking weirdest shit. And Zach, of all people, Zach Holler, has fallen completely for it. And he is sounding almost religious. He is almost sounding like he found Jesus.
Yeah, I noticed that in tweets with Elizabeth Loss. That's weird.
Isn't it weird how this shit Q is just changing people. I mean, it's just.
Caitlin's article really kind of exposes it. You know, she goes through all the well, it's a series of tweets, I think, right? Where she goes through step by step of how a psych op works, where the person gains credibility by giving some tidbits of information that are going to be released, but you know they haven't been released yet, so it makes it look like the guy. Then people see that happen, so that draws them into getting them some credibility, and then he starts getting them to research all this time, which and you know they're researching stuff that makes it look like they're finding out that the things he's saying are true when he's giving them you know research that supports what he's saying. I guess he's been trying to disparage Julian Assange and Snowden.
Once he did that, oh, that was fighting words for me. You don't go there.
Yeah. It's a really great. It's on Twitter. Well, it's fun. If you, I don't know if it's on Medium. I think Elizabeth Voss did something on it too. I linked to Caitlin's article from Elizabeth's article, but she did an article on it too.
Yeah, I'm scared of this. I've not been scared of any of the presidents at all or whatever. This time I'm scared because I'm seeing a weird, fucked up division happening that I've never seen before. This Q thing is just like, it's like the devil incarnate, you know? I mean, it's just, I mean, it's turning, there's like a few atheists that I know that have turned religious over this. How in the hell does it, I mean, over this one person and the shit that he puts there, you know, because ever since Q came out, I've been reading it thinking, well, I already knew this. I already knew this. Well, I already knew this, you know, and people are acting like it's new shit. And it's like, are you that cognitive dissonant that you can't remember when you learned this already? How is Q able to trick their minds into thinking things that they already learned are brand new and he's the guru, you know? Fuck me. I mean, I've never seen anything weirder than this. I don't usually get triggered to get weirded out by shit, but this one has got me, and I'm seeing friends turn against each other. I just don't, I don't know.
When there's an entity or someone out there trying to find solve division and fear, you know, that's a psyop type of stuff.
Oh, no shit. I mean, I have never seen Zach and Caitlin and all them. I've never seen them go like as if Zach is acting like they mortally killed him. And I've never seen this type of shit out of Zach before, not like this. I've seen him go off and be snotty or something like that, but I've never seen him act like a really wounded child before. It is just like, and then, you know, I get this idea, this thing of needing a savior, so to speak, you know, because I mean, face it, we're all just like a bunch of wrecks from all this, you know, election shit still. We're still healing. We're still trying to figure out who to trust and who not. And then this Q comes along looking like the most beautiful Jesus Christ you'd ever seen. I can't hear you, Evan.
I don't know what the infatuation with Anonymous is, you know? Why do people fall for it? Anonymous can be anybody. It can be the deep state, and a lot of the right are against the deep state, and it's like they're falling for the trick that they. I don't know. Who knows? I just don't follow it really. I just ignore it really.
No, Angel, I'm not making more about it. The Q thing. I'm seeing friends divided again. And I'm already hurt from, my family turning against me and my friends, just because I chose not to be involved with, voting for the oligarchy and and here I come into this everybody's friends thing, and now there's a separation again. And it's like, oh my God, I already went through this. I don't want to go through it again. It's like, it just hurts to see people that were once beautiful friends just turn like distant and enemy toward each other just because of this politics or social stuff. And when this is the time that we should just really grab onto each other and hold each other tight, and just because we're going to be going through hardcore shit in the future, when deep state really wants to take hold, so of course that's the hippie peace freak person coming out of me. I want everybody to love each other, give each other flowers. Say fuck you to the establishment. You guys gonna just let me ramble?
Yeah. You haven't rambled for weeks. You go ahead.
Yeah. I'm busy eating sunflower seeds. I don't want people to see me.
I'm just sitting here going, wow, they're quite quiet here.
I mean, I feel it's just like who's the leaker, the hacker? And there's a second version, with the original one hacked and uncovered some stuff, and they had a second one, and that second one everyone's thinking is just a deep state operative type of thing.
Oh,
you know who I'm talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the original ended up being like in prison or something like that.
What is it, Guccifer? Is that who you're thinking of?
Guccifer, there you go. Yeah, Guccifer and Guccifer 2. Right. So I mean, these guys are just everywhere. It's just all a game to them, really, and it's just trolling at a ultra crazy level is what it is.
Oh, right? It's like on steroid plus whatever now.
Yeah. And so I don't really trust totally. I mean, I don't trust a lot anyways, but I definitely don't trust 100% anonymous and things that are done in private. Even the stuff that I help other people with, I would prefer it if it was public. But, some people still prefer privacy because of whatever, deep state powers that be that might be spying in on them. But then the whole point of, oh man, I got bit, of having it not private and anonymous is that, well, anyone could be an operative, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
well,
my strategy is a lot different than what other people think, but who knows? Maybe I am wrong.
I went to this person's house, and he had a bunch of anonymous people over. And when I heard them planning out how to antagonize groups in order to say how bad they were, just to be in opposition, it was this like, fuck no, I don't need to be a part of I don't need to be a part of this, I want to try and work things out and try and talk to people instead of cause drama in order to say, see how bad they are just because you opposed them, you know? It's like, so when I figured out anonymous, you know, this type of anonymous anyway, they were just antagonizers, and I just, like Antifa, you know, I mean, they're the same way. It's just, I mean, I feel like sometimes a lot of them have lost their bloody minds and this ability to talk. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, talking still works. I hope. But
and these little Twitter wars, I mean, even direct chat, where it's not just a tweet, but of like direct chat, even live chat, things can get misconstrued quite easily. All it takes is coming on here and just talking to one another, and things get straightened out pretty quick. I mean, just nuances, the way that communication is done just visually, and you know, gestures is another thing, but the way how you're positioned, body language, and the way that you intone certain words, I mean, it goes a long way in communicating and making sure that, hey, I'm not against you, you know, I have a disagreement, blah blah blah, etc., and it works out. But a lot of these people out there that argue on Twitter, they don't do that, and that's also a shame, because I mean, if they want views, that's how you get views. You just have people come in, you guys interview and duke it out, and that creates a lot of either division and entertainment for a lot of people to get views. But you know, when you have a show like us where we just talk about flowers and dildos and food, you know, unity, no real argument stuff, you're not gonna get a lot of views.
we have had really left field shit too. I mean,
Yeah.
like if some people that I know in my neck of the woods here ever heard me talk about some of the shit that comes up here, they think I lost my mind, but I'm thinking this is fun.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm pretty sure people think I lost my mind a long time ago. I don't know. What can we say? I mean,
God, the day I said I hate Hillary Clinton, that was all she wrote. I lost quite a bit of people.
Yeah. I don't know. It's and the fruit flowers, there's queuing food.
That's all they pick out.
I don't know. I just feel like a lot of it's too much of a show. Get subscribers, get views. I don't know. It would be nice to not have to repeat the same techniques as those in mainstream media. I mean, it's like trying to, I don't know. It's like the same. It's like the same outward appearance, but just presented with different material.
We are different.
And I don't know, if we really want to end mainstream media propaganda and all this other stuff, we need to create a non-propaganda media, not controlled by those with corporations and whatnot. Then, you know, but if we just keep following the same paradigm, we're just gonna get the same thing in the end. And
well,
so
that's what drew me to the after hours. I was just watching and I was going, yeah, because Dave is the one that showed me over to after hours. Hell, I didn't even know you could do live chat with YouTube. I thought they were just for watching videos and that was it. And it's like I never thought how the videos were made, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, wow, this is so cool. I'm chatting on YouTube.
Yeah.
But like I said the other day, it was like my first time on the After Hours. I was stoned as fuck, and then it was broken the hippie. He was like totally cool, and there were lights in his house that were colorful. And I thought, well, this is my home. I think I found it.
Yeah.
And he's been stuck with me ever since.
And him and Dominic always smoking something on their pipes.
Mm-hmm.
And Snork usually has like band-aids on his headphones or glasses or something. But tape is a wonderful thing, I tell you that.
Smoked my hookah the other night.
Oh, you got a hookah.
Yeah, we saw that on like a wall or a shelf, and we never seen you smoke it.
I was smoking it the other night.
Oh.
When
sometimes I'll have my guns on with me just to play around with. Because I got last night or 2 nights ago? And I have all these dummy shot shells, you know, and you could pull the trigger, it won't mess things up. But you know, it's fun. I like doing that every once in a while.
Bruins is laughing at me because of the hippie thing. I'm broken. Yeah, I finally was able to get a handle on my need to go outside and smoke every time I see Dominic light up his pipe.
So that's why I'm out in the garage.
Hey, have you ever tried the vape stuff?
I don't inhale. You know, well, the hookah I inhale. But
yeah.
The vapes, you know, I don't really. I just puff on this while I'm out here for something to do, really. But I like to smoke my pipe when I'm on the computer. That's why in the wintertime I'm not out too much.
Yeah, I had a pipe once. It was actually nice. I like it. It feels a lot better than a cigarette or a cigar, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Do you see? I got a background already painted. I'm doing artwork for my wall.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And then,
But my daughter might love watching your show because she loves the color purple.
oh, I just made the purple prints.
Prints?
And then I'm gonna put that on the background. And then I'm gonna get a black light. Well, I'm gonna do the frame and everything, and then make an area where a black light can shine up and light it up so pretty.
That's gonna be cool.
Mm-hmm. Well, my wall I got 2 blank walls, and I need to do something with them. Here. See that wall?
That's too pretty for me. I mean, you gotta have like a basement with like Ouija boards on your ceiling and like broken white and red paint. I mean, this is flashy right here. This is like Cadillac level stuff.
Yes.
It's like BMW luxury basement material.
It looks like a real studio there with that 2-tone wall.
Oh my goodness.
That was hilarious.
Oh, and the Fed. Black lights matter.
This room is gonna have 2 more light things. I want to get a neon sign of some sort, and then on that wall there is a blanket type. It looks like purple rain coming down.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll string them up there, and then I'll get more of these curtains and put it in front of it, and then I'll have the purple rain coming down. This whole room is turning into prints. I mean, my daughter looked at my room the other day, and she just goes, "Mom, you gotta get on the radio and listen to some other shit sometime."
We should practice our radio voices. Like, if we're gonna actually be a radio. It's what's funny is a lot of the good ones, in my opinion, are the ones who just use their normal voices. But then there's a lot of the radio talk shows. Have you noticed that they end up having that deep, sultry voice and welcome to 90824, and here we are going to listen to some nice. I can't even do it. I don't know how they do it. Do they just practice that?
It has some of it has to do with the your mic and your settings. You can bring out the bass in your voice a lot if you wanted to.
I think it's all where you come from. And now for the weather.
Yes, the perfect voice for radio. Everyone's told you that a couple of times.
Yes, look at the best.
Yeah.
I cannot stand a woman's high-pitched voice on a radio. That just grates my nerves. It's like I have to turn until she's done.
Oh yeah, I've noticed that the guys always have that deep voice, and the gals always have that high voice. That's kind of what I like about Jimmy Dore's wife. She has a deep voice.
Yeah.
And she's not afraid to use it. I always thought, what's her name? She was an actress in the 80s, early 90s. She had a really deep, sultry voice. I forget her name. It was more husky, maybe. I always liked her as an actress. I don't know what happened to her.
Husky. What type of show?
I keep thinking of Michael Douglas movie.
Oh, in a movie.
I'm trying to find it. I can't remember. No. Kathleen Turner.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. She had one of those definitely original type of voice. It definitely wasn't very feministic, I guess, or feminine. I don't know what you would say. It was just her natural voice. Yeah.
I appreciate that too, because the females that are on the radio that do have the low voices, it's like so much easier it's easier to listen to.
Yeah.
Get too high that it's like a nail scratching on a chalkboard to me.
Let's see. Trying to find a snippet.
Oh my God, especially if you're in a bar and it's karaoke and the DJ happens to be a female with a high-pitched voice, it's like, I'm leaving.
All right, here we go. Here's a little snippet. That's horrible. Just stuttering that one. Sorry. All right, let me play this one.
Oh, he was so hot.
So when are you gonna leave?
Tonight. He has a private jet.
Oh, he's got a private jet. Oh, what the hell? We had a good run, didn't we?
Oh, Jack, come on. This is just 5 or 4 weeks of research.
Maybe you're right.
Yeah, it wasn't like I don't know. It was just normal voice. It wasn't really.
I don't know. I was busy looking into his eyes.
He got old quick. Like I thought his father was got really old quick, but man,
I know, right?
Michael Douglas got old quick too. Yeah,
I thought so too.
yeah, they're good actors, actresses. Yeah, we talked about a lot. Earlier we talked about 80s music. You know, 80s movies were also pretty good. Yeah, it Ed from like Outer Light, Outer Dark, he talks about how, was it him? Yeah, there's really no iconic movies these days. And when was the last iconic movie? Like everyone quotes from it. I mean, closest thing I would say is like Batman, Dark Knight. You know, like, there's a couple of quotes that people have and that people remember and would use, but yeah, it seems like a lot of the movies these days, they can be good, great, but they're just not iconic. You know, look at the 80s with Star Wars, Goonies, or Back to the Future and Jurassic Park, just a whole bunch of stuff.
Those were the days, Jesus, you know, when art, no matter what, music, acting, whatever, I mean, people gave a damn. People cared.
Yeah, the music also was very iconic back in.
No kidding, huh?
Yeah, something happened in 2000s. Just things weren't the same.
I don't listen to new music. I listen to basically the 60s, 70s, 80s, and most of the 90s.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I think I'm going to head on out.
All right. Thanks for showing up. I think I am too.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Night again.
Yeah. Good night, everybody.
Bye,
Thanks
guys.
for coming on.
Good night.
These sessions are getting very long for me.
Good night out in the chat.
Yeah. Good night, everyone. Kathy, Bruins, and the Fed. You guys are still watching. All right.